So what this is, to explain it before we kind of jump into this, over the past, probably 12 years now, we have been perfecting the job ad. And what we mean by that is we have tested and tried this for years and years, and we were able to narrow it down to basically 6 sections that when you have these 6 sections within your ad will perform 30 to 50% better than just normal ads and 80 to 90% better than a job description. Does that make sense? just to throw some numbers out there. Our proof is in the 11,000 clients that we have. So when I say 30%, I'm throwing out some of these percentages. It is based off of 11,000 clients where we've been testing this for the past several years. And so the reason why I have you download this first, and obviously part of this presentation today, we're going to go through each one of these sections, is because we have found that when your ad follows this format, not only does the algorithm treat you well, but you also get better quality applicants. And at the end of the day, I hate it when people say, I want more applicants. I talk with companies all the time. I need more applicants. I need more applicants. And the reality is you don't need more applicants. What you need is you need better quality. You need a quality applicant. You could get one quality applicant to apply and then hire them and you're set. You don't need 100 applicants to do that. But yet in our minds, we keep thinking we need 100 million applicants to solve the problem, right? So we're going to go back to this. So download that if you haven't, click on the link or what have you. And just make sure you have that because we're going to talk about this. Okay, let's talk about Indeed. The reason I'm starting this presentation with this framework is because if you don't understand how search engine technology works, you're missing a huge part of the boat, okay? So Indeed is a search engine. And what that means is your job ad has to be search engine optimized or search engine friendly. If it is not search engine optimized or friendly, you are losing the battle with the algorithm. Dan mentioned earlier, impress the algorithm. Well, you still have to impress the applicant. We're going to talk about elements of the applicant. But if you don't impress the algorithm first, you don't even have a chance to impress the applicant. Does that make sense? You have to impress the algorithm first. So there are 3 stages to a search engine. You do a search, right? There's the impression stage. This is right here. So this displays the list of jobs. If our screen was longer, you could see the whole list of jobs that displays. And then you have to click and then you apply. Most search engines, this is how they function today. The impression, the click, and the apply. So at the impression stage, that's where you want to impress the algorithm. Once an applicant clicks, then your ad must impress the applicant. Otherwise, they're not going to apply. And from an apply perspective, it's a lot like dating apps today, where your apply process needs to be quick. And Dan laughs at this because I bring up this dating analogy all the time. But see, the thing is today, what are people used to in dating apps? You have 2 options. You can either swipe left or swipe right. What does left mean? Left is like, bye-bye.
I don't know, Steve.
Don't want to have anything. If you swipe right, what does right mean? All right means is that I think you're cute, right? That's it. That's all it means. I'm interested. That's it. And then it's the other party that has to swipe right as well that says, hey, I think you're cute too. And suddenly there's this connection, right? Now we can connect and carry on the conversation or go to coffee or whatever. Applicants today, their mindsets treat job search and job applying the same exact way. They don't want to spend all this time trying to figure out what your organization is about. They just want to swipe right and say, hey, it looks interesting enough. Here you go. Here's my application. Here's my resume, whatever. Here's the stuff. And then if you match 2, give me a phone screen, right? That's like going to coffee. Let's do a phone screen together. Let's have a conversation. And then if it feels like it's good from there, then we'll obviously carry on the conversation and have maybe face-to-face interviews. Maybe there's a proposal on the table down the road. Who knows, right? That's kind of the main synopsis here. The problem is most companies think that the purpose of your job ad is to get an interview, and it's not. The purpose of your job ad is just to get them to send you their information. It's just marketing 101. I just want you to subscribe in essence, right? That's what I want you to do. I want you to subscribe. Once you subscribe, now I've got your information. We can determine if there's a fit. And then the staffing world is even better because once they subscribe, they may not be a fit for that job, but hey, we've got 10 other jobs we're trying to fill. And so now I can, determine if this subscription can go further than what we have, right? All right. So with that being said, let's talk about this. There are 3 things on this screen. There are best practices. There are optimization principles, which we're going to get into, which are recruitment. Part of it is recruitment marketing principles. But then there's also new rules. There are job board rules that when you don't follow these job board rules, not only does the algorithm de-rank you, which means you don't display as often, but in some cases, they now block you altogether. And guess what? They don't tell you. They just block you and that's it. And then you're in Indeed jail, and there's no get out of jail free cards. You got to figure out how to work with them and all that. And again, a lot of this stems from Indeed, but I'll tell you, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor. In fact, I'll share some new rules, Dan, from LinkedIn, because I just had a fun call with LinkedIn the other day. That was awesome. Kind of fun. Did you know that LinkedIn doesn't even use some of the words in the job ad as part of their algorithm anymore? They use only the job title. And if your job title does not match exactly what the applicant is looking for, they don't even show it to them.
Shut the front door.
I hope they evolve.
What? They don't even take the context of the actual job itself?
Yeah, they're not even looking at that anymore. They're literally just looking at the job title. And if the job title is not written word for word exactly the same of what the candidate might be looking for, they don't even show the job to them, which I think is so
actually, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I get it, because that's just what the applicants do. They don't even read the job copy either. So why should LinkedIn?
But it should be similar. If it's similar, it should pull it up.
Should.
Right? Yeah, it should. I mean, nobody does exact wording. That's silly.
In the recruiting world, it's called Boolean searching, right? It's supposed to be somewhat similar so that we can pull it. Yeah, so I'm not very happy with that. But then again,
man. So you actually just hit on that. So the whole concept of Boolean search is to literally analyze your job description or your job ad that you're recruiting for, and then you create your sort of your ideal candidate, and then you build your Boolean string out of that. So now, that's
what I just described. Did you know Boolean search is AI technology? We've been using AI technology for years, and now for some reason this year it's all coming out that, okay, AI this, AI that, partly because it's a lot more enhanced and it's just better overall. But the reality is we've been using AI technology for years. A lot of us from our cell phones, right? We call it smart technology, because what happens when you start texting a friend, right? Think about that for a moment. What does your phone try to do? It tries to get things so you don't have to sit there and guess the word or type the whole word out. Like it's trying to use this smart technology to determine, oh, is this what you meant? Is this what you're looking for? I'm trying to help you. Well, if we go back to Indeed real quick, did you know that if you do a search on Indeed, in fact, let me show this to you because we can, right? I'll just pull up the internet real quick. If you want to do keyword research, because this is one of the first steps of optimization. Sorry, this is the posting guidelines. So if you want to read some of this, you can read it on Indeed's website now. They actually post some of it now. But look what happens when I start typing in a keyword. What Indeed does is it uses this smart technology to show you the top 10 searches. And what's interesting about this is that you can use this as a tool to do some keyword research. Now, there's another site called SEObook.com, which I think is a fantastic place to do some of this keyword research. But you want to make sure you're using the right keyword, because one of the biggest mistakes right now that employers are making, and even some of the staffing firms are making, is they're not using the right title. There was a time in my career as a recruiter that my title was Senior Career Development Advisor. Now, you know what happens when I type in Career Development Advisor in the search string here? Do you think any recruit positions are going to pop up? No. And so as a candidate, I'm going to learn very quickly that is not the right keyword. Really what I was just a recruiter. And so then I would learn really quickly that, no, I just need to use the word recruiter. That's what I need to use. And so one of the biggest mistakes, like I said, is this job title. This is the first place you have to start. Right here. So step one, add title, research the job title. Make sure that you are using a job title that is searchable. Make sure that when applicants are going out there and conducting a search, that your job title actually matches what they search. Now, along those lines is the 1% to 2% rule. And this is all this is in my book too, but the 1% to 2% rule is this. If your target keyword is recruiter, as an example, then you need to use the word recruiter at least 1% to 2% of the time in the job ad. So if the ad is 300 words, 1% is 3, 2% is 6. So you need to use the term recruiter 3 to 6 times within the body of the job ad. That I can't emphasize that enough. The other cool part about this is you can target additional keywords in your job ad following the same rule, even though it's not part of your ad title. So for example, I have a lot of banking clients. I'll say, okay, you member services representative or customer service representative, because that's a much more popular search term, but it's a teller role. That's what it is. It's a teller. Well, that's okay. I can use customer service in the title, put it 1 to 2% of the time. And then in the body of the ad, I can also include the word teller 1 to 2% of the time, and it'll target the same keyword. So within the body of my ad, I'm targeting multiple keywords, even though my title may only be one thing. Now, let's talk about some rules here real quick. Indeed, especially, ZipRecruiter, not so much, but Indeed, especially, LinkedIn is starting to do this as well. The job title cannot be more than 6 words. Okay, so you can't have this huge long title, they'll truncate it off. And you can't put clickbait items in the title. So you can't say stuff like, it's the old days of Craigslist. I can't say bonus or immediate opening or starting now or starting immediately, or we call it clickbait, where you're dangling the carrot, if you will. You're trying to get them to click on it. Not only does it not work, because when was the last time a candidate went and searched the word immediate opening when they were conducting a search? I'm not going to go to Indeed and type in immediate opening to find something. It's just not how it works. And so that actually doesn't help you. You know, it's funny though, you can call in your Indeed rep and say, hey, Indeed, I want to sponsor this ad and I want to put the word bonus in the title. And Indeed will say, sure, you have to pay extra for that. But what they don't tell you is it doesn't help you in the algorithm.
But they'll take your money.
Right? You're literally throwing money away. And so this is important to understand, because if we want to effectively advertise our job and actually sponsor it, then we need to make sure that we're sponsoring it in such a way that what's already in the content and such is effective enough that when we sponsor it, our money goes a lot further. Does that make sense? So number one thing, ad title. Make sure you have the right ad title, 6-word avoid acronyms. RN, did you know RN is also an acronym in the engineering world? I'm sure some of you already know this, right? So you can't use acronyms. Most applicants will not search with acronyms. They will search with the full keyword. Why? Because when they start their search on Google or Indeed, it shows them the words and it doesn't show acronyms, right? Now you can still include acronyms, follow the 1 to 2% rule again. So you can still include acronyms in the body of your ad, but I don't recommend it in the job title. If you're going to put it in the job title, make sure you do the full word first and then maybe the acronym in parentheses or something like that. Does that make sense? I can't emphasize this enough. This is like SEO 101. and it amazes me how many staffing organizations and recruiters don't even understand this basic principle.